My name is Lauren, and I'm a worship leader here at Venture. My husband, Gray, and I got married in 2005, and we moved out of state to be part of a church plant. We'd both attended Venture at the time first when we were in college, and that church experience was what propelled us into full-time ministry as a young married couple. We've been away for 15 years and moved back unexpectedly to the Hattiesburg area in December of 2019. Moved to Hattiesburg the week the world shut down in the middle of the pandemic. The last couple of years for our family, for ourselves, Gray and myself, have been characterized by a good deal of loss of people, loss of place, home, permanence, loss of what felt like a sense of purpose in our lives, and a whole lot of transition, especially after being in the same place for 15 years, really content where we were. I have said over and over again of this season that God has both cut and cared for our family with such surgical precision in ways that affirm His goodness, display His trustworthiness in our lives, and really deepened our dependence on Him for His grace and for His provision. And honestly, really just this process of sanctification that I think only comes when you walk through trial, the crushing and the pressing that the song New Wine talks so much about. So to understand how God used this song in my life, I think I have to take you guys all the way back to 2018, prior to our move. Among a lot of other things that a pastor's wife does in a small church, I got to lead worship on Sundays and Wednesdays, and I did that for the 15 years that we were there, and it was something that gave life to me, something that I loved. But ultimately something that became a burden and was joyless in a season for me. I was wrestling over some of the truths that I was leading others to sing on Sunday and Wednesday mornings. And I struggled with that. Was that authentic? Who am I to lead others to sing truths about God that I fought doubt over at times? We were really, really tired, physically and emotionally and spiritually and in ministry. Full-time ministry is incredibly rewarding, but it's also really hard. Love your ministers, love your house church pastors, care for them and their families well. They need that. We needed that. So at the time that I discovered New Wine, I hadn't led worship for about 6 months, and that was the first time in my adult life that I hadn't been leading worship. And during that same time, this passage from Matthew chapter 9 kept coming up. The passage about new wine kept coming up in conversations. It kept coming up in my quiet times, in sermons I was listening to, in books I was reading, and then obviously in the song, New Wine. The passage says, people don't pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins just burst. The wine pours out, it runs out, and the wineskins are ruined. Nope. They pour new wine into new wineskins, and they're both preserved. I had no idea what God was trying to tell me in that season, but I knew He was trying to tell me something, and I knew that I'd better take the time to listen. I also sensed a particular prayer from a line of that song that God was just pressing into my heart for the coming year, something He was asking me to pray as we moved into 2019. And it was that piece of the song that says, make me your vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all that you've given me, Jesus, bring new wine out of me. I had no idea the implications of that prayer. I just wanted what felt like a a new work of God in my life and in our church and in our marriage and our parenting. I just wanted what felt like a new work of God all around me. And I think that it's really fun to think about God doing new things in your life. We tend to make the assumption that whatever the old was just disappears and the new is here. I think of 2 Corinthians 5:17 that says, "Behold, if any man's in Christ, he's a new creation. The old is gone, the new has come." And while justification is like absolutely instant, sanctification is a process and it is not easy. This year, this next year that we moved into, 2019, God began that process of sanctification. He began making new wine out of our lives. There was a crushing, there was a pressing, and a daily surrender that took place in our home and in our hearts. He pressed in on like relational and ministry wounds where I felt so bruised, and he absolutely crushed any sense of pride or false dependency on man or any sense of control I had over any of our circumstances. And so it was this song that I came to every morning in my quiet times. I would sing it, and I probably sang it at least 1 million times over the course of those 2 years. Just really wrestling with God, just trying to come to grips with, do I even want to do this? No, but God says do this, and so I am surrendering, and I don't understand, but I'm trusting you in obedience and in faith. And then that chorus again, make me your vessel, make me whatever you want me to be, daily, every single day in my quiet time. I would sing the words to that song. And he began to refine us individually and as a married couple and as parents and as two people who love the local church and who believe in the work of the church in the world, but who weren't sure that we'd ever be a part of that again in the way that we were together. So 2019, 2020, those years were reflective of like active surrender. We were laying down old flames in hopes that God would put in us a new fire and he would entrust us to carry that, whatever that meant. So fast forward to today. We're recording this video and we're introducing this new song to Venture Church, and I began serving on the worship team in November of last year. Gray, just this week, my husband is serving full-time here at Venture Church. Here's what I've learned. If we want God to do something new in our lives, we have to be the kind of vessels that live willing to be poured out as an offering. For us, it was the ministry and the people and the place that we loved. For all of us, it's every decision, it's every relationship, it's everything in our lives that we hold loosely, willing to pour out as an offering to the Lord. And this is what I know confidently, having walked through the process of doing that when we do, God gives new freedom in our lives, and he gives new power in our lives, and the kingdom truly does collide with our world. The work that he does in us in that process of sanctification, of making new wine, the work that he does in us, he does through us in the lives of all the people around us.
Jesus, bring new wine out